Disclaimer that this video content has been made available for information and educational purpose only. Hi everyone, in this video we are going to discuss about OWASP ZAP. So ZAP stands for Z Attack Proxy, and this OWASP ZAP is an open source tool which can automatically find vulnerability in some web applications. And a web application is any application software that runs in a web browser and the contents are delivered to the users using network connection. So I have depicted here this scenario here. You can see we can have a client here, this one. And when the client opens a browser, so web browser are the client applications, and using that web browser, user sends a request to some web server, and web server running a background service can respond back to the client, and the client can see those web applications. So web applications are hosted on this web server, and then we have these connections, and using this connection we can access those web applications from there. And now in this web application, like we have some bank applications, and so those web applications can have some weaknesses, and we want to find out those weaknesses, and for that we need a tool, and this tool is Zap Proxy, which we are going to explore today. And this tool is by OWASP, and OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Project. This is a non-profit foundation that works to improve the security of software, and I'll put the link of this in the description section so that you can explore it more. And then OWASP ZAP. So OWASP ZAP is actually a proxy. ZAP proxy can forward this request to the actual web server where our applications are hosted. So in this case, actually ZAP can intercept and inspect messages exchanged between the browser and the web applications. And this is the page of OWASP ZAP, and I'll put the link of this in the description section so that you can. Now to demonstrate the use of OWASP ZAP, I have this Kali Linux machine, and in this Kali Linux machine, first we are going to install this OWASP ZAP. So for that I'm going to launch this terminal here, and in this terminal we can actually install OWASP ZAP using a command that is sudo, and we can say apt and then apt-get install, and we can say zaproxy and press enter. And now it's asking for the password. Once you give the password, it will start installation process for OWASP ZAP, and after some time we will have this tool ready in our Kali Linux machine. And maybe I'll pause this video for recording, and then once this is complete I'll be back. Okay, now this Kali Linux machine is ready to use. I just have to give the username and password to use it. And now we have this machine already here, xvwa. So I need to have the IP address for this machine. So IP address for this we can find with this ifconfig. So the IP address for this machine is 192.168.33.133. And then we go to Kali Linux machine. Here in Kali Linux machine we launch our terminal and we verify the IP address of this. So you can see this IP address is 192.168.33.129. So first we have to verify the connectivity between these two machines. So the IP address for second machine, that is xvwa, the IP address for that is 192.168.33.133, and press enter. So you can see we can reach that machine where we have the web applications. Remember, on the second machine we have a web application running here, and maybe we can see if we launch a browser here, and in that browser if you give an IP address of that, so http, and if I say 192.168.33.133 and press enter. So now you can see here on this one, on the second machine we have this, and that web page is actually in this xvwa folder. So when I click there, you can see this shows a web application, that's extreme vulnerable web application, that is running on this machine. And on Kali machine we can use our browser to access that web application which is running on this web server. Okay, now with this setup, I'm going to close it. Now we verify that we can reach that web application, and now we have to see that how we can actually use this Zap tool to find out weaknesses or vulnerabilities in that web applications. And for that, we need to start a Zap tool, and for that we can go here, click there, and then we can again, so web application, or simply we can type here also ZAP in the search bar. You can see we already have this Zap tool, so we click there, and now in a few moments it will start loading the Zap tool for us. So you can see this OWASP ZAP tool, this is loading 2.11.1, and then these are tips and tricks there. So there are a number of parsing files available in Zap marketplace. So yes, so this has been this is there in front of us. You can see the very first screen is, do you want to persist the Zap session? So options are, yes, I want to persist this session with name based on the current time stamps. So persist means they can save all the files, maybe all the records with the current time stamp. But we don't want to persist this Zap session. We say no, I do not want to persist this session at this moment in time, and this is only for demonstration, so we are not going to persist it. And then we just click on start button. So when we click on the start button, you can see we have this screen, beautiful screen, and graphical user interface of OWASP ZAP tool. And if I maximize it, maybe let's say we can maximize it so that we can see everything there. And here says that welcome to OWASP ZAP, and ZAP is an easy to use integrated penetration tool for finding vulnerability in web applications. So again, definition and the purpose is shown there. And if you're new to ZAP, then it is best to start with one of the options below. So we can maybe click here to learn more, or we have manual explore, or we have also automated scan. So let's first click on automated scan. What does it say? So when I click there, it says that this screen allows you to launch an automated scan against an application. Just enter its URL. So you can use URL here and press attack. So for example, in our case, what was the URL? So maybe if we go here in our browser, I just close it, but we remember that that was IP address of our second, the vulnerable machine, that is 192.168.33.133, and this was in XVWA folder. So this is there. So it says that just enter your URL and then press attack here, and then it will start attacking. It will start evaluating assessing the web application hosted on that. So it says that please be aware that you should only attack applications that you have specifically been given permission to test. So we are not using any live application. This is the reason that I'm using this web application. But if, for example, if you are hired by some organizations that as a pen tester, then maybe you can use their live web applications. Okay, so here this was one automated scan, and if we go back, we also have another option that is manual explore. So when we click on manual explore, it says that this screen allows you to launch the browser of your choice so that you can explore your applications while proxying through Zap. And then there is a Zap heads up display, HUD, that brings all the essential Zap functionality in your browser. So let's say we want to explore our web server with this web application, and our web application is on this computer, on this virtual machine having this IP address, and this is a folder where we have this web application running. So now we have this in our URL which we want to explore, and then here we have enable HUD. So HUD is heads up display. So this will have all the essential functionality in your browser. So we'll see this in a moment. So we are going to enable this feature. Click there and then explore your application, and for this we just have to click on launch browser, and what browser we'll be using. So maybe we can have some here options there, but we are happy with the by default option, and we also have this Firefox installed there, you can see there. And then we just have to click on this launch browser, So it says that you can also use browsers that you don't launch from Zap. So, but then you need to configure them to proxy. So it says that if you don't want to launch browser from this place, then you can launch browser directly from there. But then you need to make an additional settings here. You need to configure them to proxy through Zap. But when we are launching this from here, then we don't need to configure those browser specifically to use for Zap. Anyway, for our simple demonstration, we are not configuring them, but we are going to launch the browser from this Zap. And when we click this here, it should start this browser with Zap. You can see this window actually shows that now this browser has automatically been configured using zaproxy. We have not made any changes there. And maybe if you want to see this, then maybe click there, click here on settings, and click on here settings, and you can see manual proxy has already been configured for us because we haven't done any changes here, but we have simply used this. I mean, we have launched this browser from within the Zap tool. Otherwise, we need to make changes, these changes there. So this is something which is heads up display, shows that all the functionality, all the options are shown here. And then it says that take the HUD tutorial, but we are not taking this one. And we say we maybe simply continue to your target. And now we have on the right hand side, you can see we have side tree, sides, tree sides, and then we have spider start, and then we also have Ajax spider start. So we have these two options, and here, so the AJX is for their links are created using JavaScript. We are not using this one, but we are using this traditional Zap spider, and this will action also. So at the moment, we are just using this spider start. Click there, and this is not in scope. Then for that, we need to just click start. So in order to spider this site, you must add it to the scope. So we say start, and then when you start it, it should, all the requests from our web browser should be going to the web application hosted on our virtual machine, that is XVWA. And to see the result, let's go back here in this window, that is this OWASP ZAP window, this tool, graphical user interface here. And now you can see it shows that this has been completed. This is 100%. But in live like in live web application, we can have more links. We can explore it further. I mean, it may take more time in that case, but in our case, this was quick, and we have got results. All results are there. And now after this, we can see this is the interface of OWASP ZAP tool. So in this OWASP ZAP tool, you can see on the left hand side, we have the sites, and this sites is actually used to examine the tree structure, or the tree that is actually also known as sitemap of web application. So sitemap is actually the representation of the web contents on some web page. So, and here it says that this is the web server which we explored, the web application available on this IP address. And the sitemap, you can see the sitemap. If you click there, if you expand it, you can see that it shows that on this web server we have these all links there. This is the sitemap there, and then we have this XVWA folder. In that folder we have this CSS, and then we can see we also have some image img files, and then we also have JS. So now this actually, you can get an idea that this gives us a tree view or the sitemap of web application, the web application which is hosted on this machine, on this virtual machine. Okay. Now we have some other options here. We have here, you can see we have the history tab. So here we can say history. So history is all the requests made by our browser. So you can see all the requests made by our browser. We can see here all these requests in this history. And then we can also use this search. So search can give us the results. we can search for some specific request. And this is important, this tag is important, that this shows the alerts. So these alerts are generated, or these alerts are found during scanning with some categories. So in alerts we have different categories, and these categories maybe you can see at the bottom. You can see my cursor is just at the bottom of this thing, and you can see there are different flags, and these flags indicates different. Like at the moment this shows high priority alerts, and the flag color is different. And then we have medium priority alerts, we have low priority alerts, and then we have informational priority alerts. Yes, so with these alert messages, we can find out the alerts, different alerts. So like if for example, if I click on very first here, we can see there's the color. As per this color, we can have click there. And when we click there, then on the right hand side, you can see these windows appear. So you can see that when I click on different alerts, the windows on right side, they change. So let's click on the very first one, that is vulnerable JS library. When I click there, the windows on the right hand side shows me further details. So you can see this is the response. So this is also known as workspace, this on right hand side. So in this response, we can see here, this is that this is vulnerable JS library, and URL for this is this, and risk is medium, and confidence level is medium, and then this the evidence. And then we also have CWEID. So CW is common weakness enumeration. So as per their database, this is the ID for them. And then we can see the source, and the description is the identified library jQuery version this is vulnerable. So now we have specific or exact information that what vulnerability is there in that web application. And if you want to explore it further, then they have also been given some CVID here. We can maybe Google it, what this means, to find out further information about that vulnerability, which is available on the web application hosted on our virtual machine. And then if we can also expand it like this one, and then we can also have further information about that. We can explore it, and then there are all different IDs. You can see alerts. And yes, so in the same way, we can explore all these alert messages which are generated by accessing the web application which is hosted on our virtual machine. And here we also have the request tab. So request tab shows the data our browser sent to the application. And in response to that request, the web application also sends back something to our browser. So this is the response which we can see here, because zaproxy was just the middleman there. It acted as a man in the middle. And yes, so now we have this information window. This is also known as workspace window, and here how we can explore it. And then if we have these all spider, like here we have different options here, spider, web sockets, output. And if you want to add more, then we just click here on plus button here on this plus one, then Ajax, active scan, automation, breakpoints, force browser. So these all things can be added here. So let's say if I click there Ajax spider, you can see now we also have this option there. And now we have these all reports. And yes, so this was simple. Maybe we can explore further it in some future video, but at the moment this is how we can use this OWASP ZAP tool. And then you can also explore it from the menu bar. So most of the things we already have here on this interface, but we can also analyze it further. And now the important thing would be that we would like to have a report of whatever has been generated. So report can also be generated from this OWASP ZAP tool. And for that, we just have to click on report. And then we can just simply say generate report. And the report title will be like this. So we can give it any name here. And this is in HTML format. And we say just click on generate report. And this report will be generated, and you can see we have this report. And in this report you can see this the scanning report, and this shows the time and date of the report generated. And these are the contents about report parameters, summary, and alerts. So you can see if we click on alerts, so risk, medium, confidence, they have further detail about this. And with this report, maybe we can send to the organization. They can see this the IP address. In our case, we are using this virtual machine where we have this web application running. So we haven't gone through all the details, but actually we just tried that there is a tool that is used specifically to find out the weaknesses or the vulnerability available in web applications which are hosted somewhere on web servers. So I hope this brief or maybe the introductory video can be helpful for some of you. And thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we will be exploring it further in some of our future videos. Thanks.